Alright, well, I'm back at the workbench with another My Grandpa's Train repair. This time I'm working on something plastic in HO scale. This is an Athearn F7 locomotive, and this is the early gear drive. This came to me in a box of parts, and I think there's something wrong with the motor. We'll take a look inside here in a second. Um, And yeah, if the camera bounces around a little bit, my tripod clip broke, so I need to get a new one. So pardon the camera shakes and noises. All right, let's see if we can get figure out what's wrong with this locomotive. Oh, um, well, that's a problem. It looks like there's half a motor, and I don't know what happened to the other half of it. I suspect this white plastic turned brittle and the other end of it shattered. No idea what happened to the magnet though. That's completely gone. So, fortunately, I have these. This is the slightly later revision of the Athearn jet motor. And this one works just fine, actually. I'll just be putting this motor in its place. But that's not the only problem with this. I think the magnet for this also disintegrated. If you can see on my finger, a piece of black, that's iron filings or magnet shavings. And I wonder if it was actually this magnet that disintegrated. SMT Mainline did a video on one of these where there was a big chunk out of the Athearn ring magnet, and I bet you that happened to this one too, where the magnet kind of just exploded. So we have a spare armature now. The other thing I have to do is get these trucks apart and service them. So because my camera is partly broke, I'm actually going to do that off camera, and we'll see if we can get a working locomotive here. Here's underneath. So this is that older white plastic, which I suspect is very brittle. So I'll definitely want to be careful with it, otherwise I'm going to end up with more for the parts bin. Alrighty, be back soon. Alright, here's all the pieces from this power truck. Actually, it's kind of an interesting design. These gears are unique. They're like a double set of teeth on that gear. So there's the top gear, and then there's the smaller bottom gear, which seems like it'd be backwards as far as speed reduction. And then there's two small worm gears that drive the axles. I can again confirm, you can see more of those shavings of, I think was the motor magnet in there. So that's all going to get cleaned out. And then pretty much reassemble it, lubricate it, and put it back together and see if it goes. Oh, and then I'll do the same for the other truck. If I hadn't mentioned yet, I have some larger projects that have been delayed, so I wanted something that's hopefully simple to repair and operating quickly. And this time I selected this locomotive. All right, we're back working on the Athearn, and I was able to get this all put back together. This thing kind of looks like a tombstone, but interesting design with the gears inside. Seems like it'll work just fine. This white plastic, however, is very, very brittle, so I have to be extremely careful with that. And you can actually see the plastic is kind of disintegrating as we know it. Those two little tabs sticking up there are splitting. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble the next one. So I actually took these wheels completely off the axles because all four of the axles were also split, which I glued those up a little bit, and that should help that from further disintegration. Okay, so we have the Athearn motor and everything put back in. There's just a couple little things I want to button up before I test it out on the tracks. I did apply power to it, and it's kind of slow, but it's really noisy. I was actually surprised how noisy these old gear towers were. I thought they would be quieter than that. But brittle plastic makes a lot of noise. I think part of the problem that this original one had, there's two different screws that hold the motor in place from the bottom. And this one is way too long. It's actually the same length as the ones that hold the trucks together. These trucks use a little screw right there that bolts them together. And one of those had been used to screw in the motor. And I suspect that, so yeah, I didn't put this one in because this screw is substantially longer than this one. You can see that down there, that screw just sticks through the brass plate like it's supposed to. This one was probably screwed in so tight, there we go, that it screwed right into the magnet itself and caused it to crack and over time disintegrate. So that's my explanation of why the original magnet, it kind of exploded. Like there was shards and shavings all over the package when it arrived. I'm sure it was that way long before it came to me. So all I'm going to do is put that screw back in, and I actually got to turn the magnet around because it runs in reverse. So, and it might even find a headlight that will fit in there. We'll see. And then we'll put the shell on and take her for a spin. Okay, the Athearn locomotive is put back together and ready to test run. Hopefully it makes it around the layout without any problems. We'll see here in just a minute. Let me go turn it on. All right, well, you've seen the performance of this locomotive. The paint looks good, but that's about it. This thing is noisy, tends to derail. It loses the coaches, the box cars behind it. Let's compare it to one of these band drive Athearn locomotives. These, I believe, are the same generation, so the shells ought to be identical pretty much. So these band drive Athearns don't have a logo on the front. It says Santa Fe. The gear drive does. It says Santa Fe, looks kind of nice. Has nicer headlight lenses. But the band drive has one advantage over the gear drive, and that is that it is super quiet. So let's see how the band drive runs. All right. As far as I'm concerned, this is actually a superior drive mechanism. It's all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup. I believe the gear drive was only four-wheel pickup, but I'm not really sure. It might be all of each. It's definitely quieter. Paint's not quite as good because it's missing the logo up front. Let's see. Now let's compare it to a blue box generation. Here we go. So I've got the blue box, obviously a different road name. Alrighty.
All right, well, between these three engines, I think the green and yellow one is definitely the best performing. And it's not even the newest generation Athearn Blue Box. That one dates to probably the 1960s itself. It doesn't even have flywheels in it. But that's going to conclude this video of the restoration of a early generation gear drive Athearn locomotive. Hope you found this interesting. As always, stay tuned for upcoming repair videos. A lot of things will be changing around here. So stay tuned. And thanks for watching.